Alright, then this is that first 5 minutes where we just make sure everything's still working. Obviously with people using the computer they get rid of all my settings, so I've got to do this every day. Basically checking for volumes. And there you go, that's sounds alright. Alright, so this is year 8's. Now I'm not going to go absolutely from the beginning because we've done 4 hours of this in lessons, but during this week I'm just setting this up. There might be 20 minutes of me just explaining what's happening until we get to next week, and then we'll just get straight into lessons, 20-minute videos sort of thing. Right, HTML. The first thing I'm going to, in fact before we get into the lesson, let me explain how you should be doing these lessons again if you're year 8, because this will be posted on your Satchel and you'll be able to click on the video because I have to upload it after I've streamed it. Right, the first thing you need to go to is, if you look at the bottom of the screen, this intensecomputertraining.wordpress.com, if you type that into your browser, as you can see up here, you get my website. Now this is where I'm going to put all of the major links. If you just use this, you'll be able to get hold of all the content, because I update this as like a last point of call. So you go to homeschool, we're in year 8, HTML, lesson 1, basic HTML, takes you to this page. I briefly explain what we're doing, so you read this, but with this lesson I do understand a lot of you have problems, because I remember in lessons I said everybody open Notepad, and I'm going to say as large as a number as 80% of you said, hey, do I get on Notepad? And I find things like that really shocking, because it's this birth of mobile phone technology. You're not using computers anymore, so I've no idea if you've got Notepad on your computers, but you should have if you've got a Windows machine. If you haven't got Notepad, then there's this Notepad++, which is here. If you go to this site, it's basically Notepad, but it gives you a lot more features. This is way more complicated than Notepad, but it's absolutely brilliant. It'll help you with all your coding and your HTML, and you can set it to like make tags go a different colour. I might start using this during this lesson just to show you what it looks like, so that we can all have a go at it and have something pretty good. Feel free to donate to these guys because they ask for nothing normally to get it, and you know they're building it for free. So if you're really that generous, I think I offered them 20 quid last year, or $20. It's about 17 quid last year, but I think the pound has dropped. Anyway, back to this. If we go back to our website, if you want to follow along with the lesson slides, you can go here. Normally I put just PowerPoint and then a little link here, but people were missing it saying where's the link, so I've left that on. There's a worksheet you have to complete. Now I'll show you how to complete that halfway through the lesson, and then there's always a quiz. At bare minimum, you really should be answering that just to see if you've got it, and you should keep going until you get 100% and understand why you got it wrong, because there's an answer to all of the questions. So I'll show you all the resources now so that you've seen them and you know what you're looking at. So if I go to the lesson resources, these are the things we're going to be able to do by the end of this hour or 30 minutes. This is some basic information I want us all to know, because I don't know who's watching this. Those of you that know me, you know what we've done in lessons. Those of you that are wandering onto this, because you know it's getting pretty hard right now. People are getting bored, and it's only been 2 days. And while I self-isolate for another 7 days, because we did have a little bit of an issue a couple of weeks ago, or 1 week ago. I don't know who's going to be logging on to this, but with all the schools and shops shutting down now, the internet's going to be the best point of call. Right. Then, if you want, if you've made your own Google account, and this is what I said in the last one, if you go and make a new Google account, for example, you'll go on here, you'll go, just type Google in, and then go to Google, I guess, create a Google account. If you go to create a Google account, and then create a Google account, and then fill all this in and make an email, you can make a brand new Google account. You can get free Word, free PowerPoint, free Excel, free all the software basically, and I encourage you to do that. Alright, so these are the things you should be doing as a minimum: using your worksheet, creating a web page, that's what we're going to do, and answer the quiz. But if you are in my classes, you'll understand I have a little format, and you've got to get 5 marks, I used to say, but now it's been shortened to 3. You've got to be able to create some kind of diagram and label it. So this might be my diagram here. I'll label it, explaining what each parts do, and then I'll answer my question, which has always got to be in the form of a title. So can I create a web page which has a picture, a title, a heading, some text, and arranged into a table with links to 3 other pages? Now this is what we started doing in the last lesson. So we're going to do all of what I've taught you in 3 hours in 1 hour, well 40 minutes, because that's the beauty of teaching like this. I don't have to walk around. You'll see just the difference now it takes for me to help you with your problems, like you haven't checked your work when I tell you to be careful and check your work, and you haven't, and I have to sort that out, and it takes a minute per kid, and there's 20 of you in a room. So you can understand just off the first thing, and I've spent up to 20 minutes fixing everybody's simple problem, because you're simply just not looking at things. We have no choice here. You have to either rewind the video when it goes online, or you have to do your own little bit of independent research, or you just listen. I don't know what to say. This is very difficult to understand now. You'll all claim yours doesn't work when I've done exactly the same, but as I kept saying in lessons, you haven't done exactly the same, because I'm just going to do it in front of you and it's going to work. And if I come into problems, that's the best thing. I can explain why it's working, and then we might have those same issues. And then we're going to review our work, and we're going to get those 3 marks. I'll open up a blank Word document and start writing things in. And as always in these lessons, I have a killer example. I would like you to create that and then link these to other pages. So I've given you most of the code here, except there's things here what you have to understand what's going on to make it work. Right then, so this is where the lesson starts. So let's have a look at our timer so I can put a timestamp in. Lesson starts at exactly 9 minutes 35. So welcome to this lesson on basic HTML. If you've never done this before, I'll do my best to start you from the beginning, go through all of the points so that we have a web page by the end of it. There is a lot of tricky things to do in HTML, or using HTML, which I don't necessarily find tricky at all. It's just basic computer use, but as I've seen in some of my lessons, these things can really stop the movement of this, and everyone gets fed up and mad, and we just have to pay a little bit of attention to some of the things I'm going to say, and I will point it out, and I will keep saying it over and over and over again, just so that you know that this next bit is really important. And if you're not watching what you're doing, you're going to put things in different places and nothing's going to work. I am going to do everything from absolutely brand new. So that's from opening the software to you'll see around my desktop. Now I don't know what yours looks like, but I'm hoping you can just follow it. I'm using Windows 10. It's pretty much the same for every Windows, going back to, I'm going to say back to Windows, not XP, because there was no search bar at the bottom here, but there was a search in Windows XP. It's just out of the way. Right, so we're going to start with this. What does HTML mean? It means hypertext markup language. Now, just because you know what it stands for doesn't mean you know how to do it. Hypertext means we can use the browser, that's Firefox, Google, Opera, Internet Explorer, we can use the software, the browser, to make words look different. We can make them bigger, we can make them different colour, we can make them animate, we can make them clickable. That's what the hypertext means. And then markup is exactly what you do to those words on a screen. You use these things, what we call tags. So we use pointy brackets to create tags. Demo this in a minute. When you create a tag, you must remember to end the tag. Now this doesn't mean much to any of you who are doing this from brand new right now. We've got straight into it, straight into the deep end. What's a tag? There's no example, just bear with me. I like to tell you about it first. This is the way I like to teach, so that you've at least heard or seen it first. And then when you start building it, your brain just makes those pattern recognitions and connections. And so HTML is very specific. You have to make sure that you don't make any typing errors and spell keywords of HTML correctly. There are a certain number of words in HTML which you have to spell in the right way. You can't, you know, swap your letters or miss one out or miss a bracket. It just simply won't work. And this is the most important thing. When you want to save your work as a web file or a HTML file, you've got to add .html at the end of your file name. And we're going to start with a demo right now. So I'm going to open two things here. I'm going to open Notepad++, which, if you saw the start of the video, I've given you a link. Download it, install it, open it, dead easy. It is a little bit complicated, that, because it can do some things to you. It's the way it works. It's a really complicated Notepad, but if you don't understand what you're doing with a computer, you'll find it's the best thing I've probably ever directed you to, because it is brilliant and it's free. Otherwise, we're using the regular Notepad, so I'm going to open that now. In Windows 10, you can simply type in Note at the bottom, and it'll come up here. So I'm going to open that, and I'm going to put this on this side of my screen. I'm also going to open Notepad++ for the people who want to have a go with this. And it looks exactly like Notepad, but it's got all this extra stuff at the top which scares people. But all I'm saying is you don't need any of it. Just don't worry about it. We're going to be mainly using Notepad, but I'll keep that open just so that we've got it. Right. No, I don't want to download any updates yet. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to build a basic web page. So if you just look at that, it's going to look like that by the end of it. But there's a few little tricky things we've got to do to get this going, because we want to create a web page which has a picture, a title, a heading, some text, and arranged into a table with links to 3 other pages. So if I now open up my Notepad, every single HTML file has to start with this tag, HTML. And if you remember to what I was saying before, I'll make this full screen so that's not distracting. I'll make my text just a little bit bigger so that everybody can see it, but I will be flicking from the sides of this because I like to see the whole code on the same page, not in bits. I think that will do. Just looking at my screen on the other side here, it looks big enough. Right, so we start with this tag. Every single web page has to start with that, because that's the tag what tells the browser when you open it to read this as a HTML page. And like I said in the original intro to this video, you have to end the tag. You just put a /, it's the key next to the shift on the same row as the M on a standard keyboard, and then you put HTML. So you end HTML sort of thing, but don't put a space there like that. Right, the next thing you need for the very basics of building a web page, I'm building you the minimum you need to get this going. We need another tag called body, and then when we start a tag, we end a tag. Now that's the minimum you need to create a web page. And then the most important thing we need to do now, and I'm going to get this out of the way to begin with, because some people don't do this. Usually when I open a Notepad, I immediately save it as an HTML file, but I haven't done that here because I just want to get you started with this. Right, so we're going to go to File, we're going to go to save as. This is the first and last time you press this. So you go save as, and I'm going to click. If you're using a regular Windows machine, you should get your what we call your directory box or your Explorer box. And I'm going to select desktop. I don't know how it's going to look for you, but I'm going to click on these downward arrows and I'm going to click on desktop. These are all the things on my desktop, everything. And I'm going to save my work to desktop. In fact, I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to create a new folder, so I can right click and create a new folder that way if you want, or you can click up here, new folder, and I'm going to call it Year 8 Website Lesson, because I'm going to delete this when I'm finished with this lesson. And I'm going to save my file into there. But look at here, look down here. It's really important you pay attention to what all this is. I bet most of the people watching this video have never paid attention to this bit here. Right, I want to save this whole file as what we call in HTML the home page. But we have to add on straight after it the extension .html. It's really important that you do that. Look, there's no spaces. It's all one word, but the most important thing is I've called my first page home.html. I'm being really slow with this because people just don't do it, as I've seen in lessons for 12 years of this. People just don't do it right, and everybody gets mad because they've done something wrong, and then they complain that it's exactly the same, but it's not exactly the same. So I'm saving to my desktop. I'm saving into my folder I've just created, and I'm calling it home.html. I'm just going to save, and nothing seems to happen when you've done that until you do this. I'm going to what we call maximize or unmaximize my window and put my code sheet to the right here. I hope you all can still see it on the screen. If I go back to my desktop, I can see that folder I made. I'm going to go in it and I'm going to show you what's inside this. Look, there's a file in there called home, and it's been saved as a HTML document. I've got mine. If you go on right and you go into view, I always have mine on details because I want to know what things are, because I'm a programmer. I don't want to be messing around like with this sort of stuff, because that tells you nothing, and everybody seems to have that. I don't get it. So details, it shows me the name of the file, when it was last open, the type it is now. This is very important later on, and how big it is on disk, 1 kilobyte, which is how many bytes for you guys who are a little bit ahead. So if I double click this now, look what you get. Nothing. There it is. That's my web page. There it is. I can undock it and do whatever I want, but I don't want to undock it. As a matter of fact, I actually want to dock it back up here with the rest of the things. So look, there's nothing on it. My God, that's not what we're doing. Well, this is what we're going to do now. We are going to maximize this window and put it on this side along with the code window. I can close that down now if you want. There you go. So I've got my code and I've got the result of that code, because you can see here it's up here, home.html. I'm in that page. Right, so let's get started with the real lesson. One of our lesson objectives was we've got to have a title. Now, to make titles in web pages, a lot of developers use a new tag called H1. H1 means heading 1, the biggest style heading we can have. And in my lessons, I always try to pick something we can build something on. I am going to build a website on. I'm going to build a website on game releases. Why not? Everybody's playing the internet this week. We're all looking around for things to do. And the first thing, my kids came up to me and said they wanted all these games on their Xbox and that. And because it's my stuff, I had to install it all. So we're going to make a games website. So I'm going to say top 3 games of the week. And we could build a really good website here and have people actually visiting our site every day. for the next foreseeable. So I'm going to go to format, I'm going to go to font, and I'm going to make my text a bit smaller because, like I said, I like to be able to see all of my code on one page. If that's too small for you, you might have to, if you know who I am, you can send me a message. I'm just having a look on the other side of the monitor, but there's a delay on the stream. I hope this is big enough. Right, so you can see I've started a tag, H1, and I've ended the tag. If you don't end the tag, everything in the document is going to be this size when I save it in a minute. So all you can do now is you can go File and Save, or look at the shortcut, make sure you're in this window. So I always click at the top to select the focus of the window. Hold Control with your little finger, just like I'm holding it down right now, and then press Save. And if you notice, when you do something new to a document, a little star comes on it. You see I've added that C and a star comes on. It means that it hasn't been saved yet. So if you hit Control, press S, that star goes, it means it's totally saved. So when we go to this window, if you look, can you see the windows are shifting focus? If you press your refresh, if you're using another browser, it might be in here you refresh. But I use Firefox because it's the best. And then and then I click that, and bang, you've got top three games of the week. See, let me move this a little bit in and get the right edge so you can see it's the edge. But I don't want that C, so I delete that off. I save and I refresh, and bang, top 3 games of the week. Right, so let's have a look at our objectives. Our objectives were, well, I use this as our objectives now. These are our objectives. I can create a web page which has a picture, a title, we've done that, a heading, some text, and arrange it in a table with 3 other page links. Right, so let me get back to my page. So I've got my title, so I'm going to add 3 subheadings. I'm going to add the top 3 games. So this is up to you what you think the top 3 games are, but I'm only going to play the 3 games I only play ever, because I don't really play video games anymore. I like programming them and doing all that good stuff, but playing them right now is I only play about 3 games. I have a dabble in the new stuff. So H2, notice how it's different from H1. This means it'll be a little bit smaller, but it'll still be bolded and things like that. And then the first one is Doom Eternal. I think that came out this week because I downloaded it because you know I'm a massive fan of the old games, Doom games especially, because I just like building the old style kind of games when I do game development. We're going to have another game. Now it's not out yet, but again I'm a big fan of the old style games. I'm going to put Resident Evil 3 Remake. I know the demo came out, so I'm just going to preempt this being, by the time people sit down and have a look at this maybe, or maybe see this video in the future, this game would be already be out. And then my final game, which I know it's not new, but the best game in my opinion which has ever been made. Well, StarCraft as well. I'm just, you know, and you can download it for free. You can get a free account, play online, it's great. So these are my top 3 games. So if I, can you see we've got this little star, I press Control and S, it's now saved, and I refresh, and you can see I've got my title, I've got my 3 games, and they're all a little bit smaller than that. So this is looking good, but not really looking like a proper website yet. There's another tag I want to use, and that's I want to get my title into the center. So remember what I said about hypertext markup language, the name of what HTML stands for. I need to mark up how things are going to look on the screen. So I'm going to mark up this text with a tag called center. Notice it's spelled the American way because the Americans invented this first. And then I'm going to end the tag, because if you don't end the tag, I'll show you what happens if I don't end the tag. It'll center everything. So I save it and I refresh, and now I've got my title in the center, I've got my 3 subheadings, and we're ready to go. But I'm just going to get rid of this just for now, save it and refresh. If you really, if you want to be really quick like me, just press F5 to refresh. F5 at the top of your keyboard, and it just refreshes without having you to keep clicking that, because I just control and F5, and then it's quicker. So you can see everything's centered, but I didn't want everything centered. That's because you haven't ended the tag. I started it, but there's no end. A lot of people miss things like that out, and then if I go save and then I press F5, everything just stays the same. But if I now end the H1 and I end the center, it all goes back to normal. Now then, we're going to have some text, because I said you've got to add some text in our objectives. This is the latest game in the series. Continuing from Doom in 20... what year did the other one come out? I remember it was a big deal. I'm going to say 16. Continuing from Doom in 2016. The series goes back to fast action, paced combat, and massive level exploration. Now, if you noticed, I've been typing and typing and typing, and this scroll bar has been getting dead longer. This is what I'm about to demo in HTML. It doesn't care about what you do here. You could put all of this on a different line like this if you want. HTML doesn't care how it looks in the Notepad. I'm just going to show you this as an example. So I've got it all going down like this, and I've got it all going along like that, and I'm just going to control and save and refresh, and look, doesn't matter how it looks in here. We haven't marked it up any different way than what the browser thinks is just normal or standard writing. And look, it's still long, and it's because of the window. We are given the benefit of the doubt of if we resize these windows. Gotta be really careful, because can you see how it stretches? Everything's still in the center to the size of the window, and everything wraps around when you move it up. It's important that you understand that. So I wouldn't normally have my work like this, but I wouldn't care. Like, I am now not bothered that this is going like that, because I just want it on one line. Look, it's just one line as far as I'm concerned. I don't even need to see past it. It is annoying, but generally I'd be coding like this and on a lot smaller font, so I'd see it anyway. Right, so we've done that. So next one, Resident Evil 3, a remake of a game first designed on the, did it come out on the PlayStation 1 or 2? I think it came out on the PlayStation 1. See, I'm showing my age now, because this is ultimately, this sort of stuff got me into video game design when I got into it. I was just so impressed with how do you do that, and then that just got me doing all this, like when I was about 12. A remake of a game first designed on the PlayStation 1. We see who is the character? Is it Jill Valentine? Jill Valentine battle against the evil Umbrella Corporation, I think. Well, I do know. When I say I think, I love this sort of stuff. It's really good. I'm really into these sort of games. Oh, well, I was. I still am, but getting old. Right, anyway. A remake of this game, first designed on PlayStation 1. Yeah, it doesn't matter what I've wrote, to be honest. I don't know why I'm checking that. On StarCraft 2, the greatest game of all time. Of all time. I'm not kidding. There's no better game than that game. And we save it. And we refresh. Or F5 if you want to be quick. And we're getting what looks like a website now. It's looking pretty good. Right. So in the interest of keeping this quick now, I'm just going to launch straight into it and stop being so slow. I've been extremely slow on purpose for the last 10 minutes, just so that you all see basically what I'm typing in, how things are working. But now we're going to get into the real nitty gritty, and this is going to carry on now from the third hour of my last set of lessons. Now then, we're going to insert a picture, and this is where it gets a little bit difficult, because some of you will not do this right and not pay attention, and the questions are going to come flowing. Right, here we go. I need to get an image of all three of these games, so I'm going to go to a new tab in my browser, and I'm going to type Google in. Now, because we're not making any money, we can avoid copyright and things like that, but I'm just going to type in here Doom Eternal, and I'm going to go to images, and I'm going to just click on this. And because I'm not bothered about today, I'm just going to do something really quick. I'm going to use my Snippet tool, or screen grab. I'll use a Snippet tool because most of you will have this. If you type in Snipping Tool, it's Snipping Tool here. I think I've got a shortcut for it on my address bar. If you go to Snipping Tool, it brings this up. If you go to New, it does like a white haze over your screen. I'm going to just drag a box around this, and it's going to make a cutout of that. I'm going to go to File, Save As. I'm going to go back to my desktop. I'm going to go to my website lesson, and I'm going to take note of this. I'm going to save it as a JPEG file. So it's in Save As Type JPEG. I'm going to save it as that, and I'm going to call it Doom and save. I'm going to close that down, and I'm going to do exactly the same again. I'm going to go back. I'm going to put Resident Evil 3 Remake. Press enter. Go to images. We're having that. It's a little bit smaller, this image. I think you could make it bigger if you did this, maybe. No. Right. So if you don't want it too small, but I'm not bothered, I'm going to go to my snipping tool, so I'll type it in again down here. If you can't find it, I think it's in accessories anyway. So accessories. Yeah, there's a folder called accessories if you're using the old Windows style, because I've never used the actual button ever, thinking about it. So if you go to accessories, oh no, this is for something else. I'm just going to have to use my tab because I've never done it this way. I've always just gone snip, and it's always come up. There you go. So new, it goes white hairs. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go file, save as. I'm going to check that it's a JPEG file. I'm going to call it res3. Now I'm going to do exactly the same again. I'm going to put StarCraft 2. I'm going to make sure I'm in images. I want the box art. I'm going to go snipping tool. There is another way on Windows 10 to do this, but I'm just going to use this because I think everybody will have access to this. And if you can't do this, just download the image to your desktop, making sure that it's a JPEG, a GIF, or something like that. Now I skipped over that, and that's where all the problems come in. So save as, it's another JPEG. I'm going to call it SC2. So I've saved my 3 images now to my folder, and just to check that it's there, I'm just going to go into my website, and there you go. I've got my home page. I've got Doom, Res3, and SC2. Now I'm going to put all of these. I'm going to put all of these into 3 little tables. I'm going to have the picture. I'm going to have a title on top of the table, and then I'm going to have the picture underneath with the writing next to it. So this is a new tag for you all. So we're going to create a table for this part of the document, this part of the document, and this part of the document. And just going back to what I said before, don't worry don't worry about the way this looks here, because if I press Control and save, it's going to still look exactly the same even though I entered it up. It's just easier to read for web designers. This is why we do it. I'm going to add the new tag table, and then I want the table to end here. It's really important if you start a tag you end it almost straight away and understand where you're ending at. I'm putting all of this bit into a table. Now then, I want my table, now if I could draw a diagram, I'll just use the greatest tool of all time. This is why I say in lessons, plan with a pencil and a ruler. It's important. I want to build a table what looks like this. Simple box. That's where my title's going to be. That's where my picture's going to be. And that's where my writing's going to be. And that's going to be my title. That's what I want to build. So I've started my table. So if you notice, there was a table row. There was a row, a big row going across the top. And I want that to house my my title. Now what I normally do is I do that table row, H2, end table row, and then what we have to do in a table is specify this as our table data. So TD, NTD. Now notice where the tags are coming in. Start the table data here, table data ends here. Start the H2, that's going to be H2. This is going to be a new table row, and then the table row is going to end here. And then I want to do another new table row for this bit, but I want to put in my picture. So we have to use a new tag called imgsrc equals, and this is really important now that you've got everything we've already done exactly the same way I did it. You have to have the image in the same place as this file. Now we know it is because I've been showing you the folders as I've been going along. So if I click on my Windows, there's my file and there are my images, all in this same Year 8 website lesson. So image source equals, and I remember calling my Doom picture Doom, but it was a JPEG.jpg. You have to add that tag or that extension or it doesn't work. And then I want it to end the, oh sorry, I haven't put something here. I need to put table data here and end table data here. Now then, that's going to create that underneath left box. This is also going to be the next bit of table data. Notice how I haven't ended the table row yet, because I want these to look like the columns. And then I go right to the end. Now this is why usually I code like this, and in smaller font, because you don't have to scroll. And at the very end I'm going to end the table data, and then back to the start. I'm going to end the table row, and that, when you save it and refresh it, might look like that. So you're like, wow, that looks rubbish. That, how do we fix it? Well, the first thing you can do with images is add what we call some attributes. Now I want my attributes to be smaller than that, so I'm going to have my width of this image to be, let's say, well, it's a rectangle, so I'm going to say width, I'm going to have 100. We'll just see what it looks like. And then the height, I'm going to have as, go on, then I'll put 200. We'll see what it looks like. So control and save, refresh. It's a little bit stretched. Height needs to be a little bit down, so 150. Oh, sorry. Put 2. Now that's looking alright, I guess. But when you maximise the screen, is that what you really want? So we can't see the table either. So in table, we're going to have another attribute called border equals 1. We save that and we refresh, and it's put my thing into like this tabled box now. Now I don't want my image that small, but you could put more writing in here to pad it all out as well. So I'm going to put my width to 200, and I'm going to put my height to 250. Save. I want to refresh. And yeah, that looks good. I like that. But I'm a little bit weirded out why my H2 ain't not working, and I think it's because you've got to put it next to the word and not at the start of the table data, because I thought I could have just put it there and it just does the whole row as anything what goes on that row is just going to be H2, so I don't have to keep doing it for every single item. So if I save that now and then refresh it, yeah, it's made my HD Doom Eternal. Right, so now it's basically a copy and paste job. You have to just copy all of that. If you want to be smarter about it, what we could have done is done all that first and then just pasted it in 3 times and then just changed the text. Now I'm going to do that because I just think it's quicker in the long run. So I'm going to copy all this. There is a way of doing it all in one go, but I'm just trying to get you to copy and paste, get used to what you're doing, making it really simple, because you don't even need to create oh sorry, I've gonna make a mistake there. No I haven't. Right, so I've copied Doom Eternal 3 times, but we don't want it to be Doom Eternal. We want this one to be resident. Because this is long, this writing, I'm just going to enter it down so that I can see all the writing. And when I've got big things like this, I normally put it into a space so that I can see it easily. Get rid of all this, and I'm just going to put in a load of gobbledygook, just so that we've got something. And then I'm going to change the picture from Doom to, what was it, Resident. Did I call it Res 3? So this is why you've got to remember your names for your titles. And then I can copy all of that. No, I'm not going to copy, I'm just going to keep it simpler. So this is StarCraft 2. And then I called it sc2.jpg. And then I am going to copy all of that now. Copy that bit. Just delete all that out and put it all back in. So hopefully you can see what I've done, and just so that it doesn't look exactly the same, actually I should just type in some random stuff. We normally use something called a lorem ipsum, but I'm not going to get into that in the interest of time because this video might be ticking over to an hour now. But I'm trying to be really slow with this one. So I save this, and then I refresh, and you check everything's working, and it should. Well, it's put all the images to the same size now, because I was worried that one of them would be smaller. So I've got Doom Eternal, Resident Evil 3, StarCraft 2, and you've got all your writing. So this looks really cool right now. But I don't like the I don't want a white background website, and can you see how the because there's more writing in that one than the others, they're going to be different lengths. You can make your tables all the same length. So if you go to border and then you go to, I don't know if this works actually, I'm just going to check it, width equals, now I know my resolution is 1920 I think, so if I put width equals 2000, I wonder if that will do what I think it's going to do. Yeah, it does, it puts your width to 2000 pixels, but I'm zoomed in a bit, right? But I'm not, I'm just going to get rid of that. just while we're burning. Actually, it looks good while it's that big, but not when you start, because that writing's, I put more writing in there than the other one. Right, so this is looking good. So we've got our, let's have a look at our objectives. So, which has a picture, done, title, done, heading, done, some text, done, arranged to a table, done, with links to 3 other web pages. Right, this is where it gets maybe a little bit tricky for some people again. So I'm going to go to a new tab. I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to find the official sites for these games. So we'll go to Doom website. It's accompanied by id Software, I believe, but published by Bethesda. I think Bethesda own id now, and I'm not a big fan of Bethesda, I'm not going to lie. So this is the main site, this. So I'm going to copy that. Now remember, I've copied the official website. I'm going to go to my code and I'm going to change the title to the official website. So if I go back to Doom Eternal up here, this is where, like I said, you need a bit more space. I'm going to add this new tag called an anchor reference, a space href, an hyperlink reference equals, then put 2 speech marks and then paste in that site. Now really look at that, it's really important you have a quick look at that. So it's an anchor, that's the tag, the A tag, the anchor tag, but I want you to hyperlink reference to that site on this word. So at the end of this we have to put /A or end the A tag, because that's the tag locator and that's an attribute of that tag. You can do all kinds of things like make your links go different colours and things, but that's what we want. So if I save that, put my text back, and I go back and I refresh, it goes Doom Eternal, and what's going to happen now is it will go to that website we were just on, and then you can go back and you're back to your website. So now you do that for the other 3. So Resident Evil 3, Capcom Resident Evil 3, this is a site, control and copy, Resident Evil 3, href equals speech marks, I put all that in first, put it in, end the tag, end the brackets, and then end the point of this, save, go back, refresh, check it, yep, go back, and I'll leave you to do that. Oh no, we're definitely doing StarCraft 2. I want to show you the site, because if you're bored, this game is everything you need. It's free, you get a free account. I might even stream like an hour a night and straight play it if you don't know what you're doing, because this game is it gets you involved, gets you to think, gets you to do basic maths, gets you to really get used to using your computer for once rather than it just shooting at a target. Anyway, so copy this so you can make a free account. Copy. Let's go back to regular size. Go to StarCraft. href equals 2 speech marks. I end my tag now usually. StarCraft, yeah. Scroll along a bit. End the A. And then save. And then when we go back and refresh, we can go back to that website. And we've got a fully fledged website here. It's looking good, but I just want to change it just a little bit more. I don't want a white background. I want a black background because we're edgy like that. And I want my writing to be white. So we go to the top, back to body, and we're going to add in BG color. Now, if you understand how this works, you can use the RGB values. So you put a hashtag, how much a percent of red do you want? This can use hexadecimal code, so it's a value between 0 and 16, 0 to 9, and then A to F. So if I wanted full colour of red, and then I put no green and no blue, I save it and I refresh. It don't work. Oh, but it equals. Can you see if you don't get it very specific, it doesn't work? Like I said at the very start of the video, all my site's gone red. All my site's gone red. Whoa, I don't want that. I want my background colour to be black. So how do you get black? Well, it's the absence of all colour. So 0, 0. Click save, and I click refresh, and oh, all my writing's gone. But I want all of my font to be white. So at the very top here, I'm going to go font color, because the tag the tag is a font and this is the attribute. And I can do this as well, rather than using the hexadecimal like I have done. I can just type in the word white, as long as it's a regular standard color and nothing silly. I think you can just do that. And then I want to end the font right at the end of the document. I want every single bit of writing on my website to be white. And then when I refresh, well, we've got a problem. Turns out it doesn't include writing inside tables. So the option is now to put a font tag. I'm going to wonder if this works. I'm just going to see if this works. Because no. Wait a minute. Something's changing there. I think I'm not sure what that is. I'm just playing there. Learn something new every day. So I'm gonna just put inside my table this, because I'll be honest with you, I don't program in Notepad anymore. I use a program called Dreamweaver, and cascading style sheets I usually use. I don't normally do this anymore. I'm already surprised I can remember it, but I know some of you don't have these pieces of software, so there's no point. That doesn't work either. You'd have to put the font color in with your table data. So if I cut that out and put it here and then save it, it'll work that way. You've got to put the font color next to the word or in the table data, just like we did with the H2 before. So, and then I've ended the font at the end of that line. Normally it's underneath the line. So I'm just going to do that for 3 of them now. I'm going to put that in here, and I'm going to end the font here. I'm going to put that in here. I'm going to end the font. Notice how I'm not bothered where I'm putting these end tags. As long as you put the tags in the right order, everything works. And we've got that. Right. So I think we've got a reasonably nice looking website here, which goes to the web pages, and we've completed all of our assignment. Now then, let me take a look at the time. So this has been like a proper hour-long lesson, which I knew would take an hour, because it's very particular where I've got to explain things. Right, so this is what you do as a class. Here we are. Let's see. So here's a demo. If you want to get the bare minimum done, get that working. Copy that out, get it working. You've used the worksheet for guidance. It's in the description of this video, which is, it's on my website. If you haven't been to my website, it's here. So you click on this, and what I'd like you to do is to program these individual bits and take a screenshot. So for me, H1, computer science, you've got to create that and then put that in here. So if I was to start this whole thing again, Look at this disaster. I've deleted everything. I'd start with my HTML, because I know when we're doing basics we need that, we need that, we need this, we need that because it says you need these, and then body, and HTML, sorry, and then it wants us to do that. Now if you're using my worksheet here, you can copy that and paste it in so you don't have to write it yourself, but I want to know what's happening when we do this. So I do this and I go save, and I go back to my page and I refresh. Oh, all that work's gone. That's what it does. So I can use my snippet tool now. Snip, new. I know that I've cut a little bit off, but whatever. Save as. I'm going to say this is H1, I'm going to call it, and then I'm going to go back to my notepad and I'm just going to paste that in there. Believe it or not, if you use your snipping tool, it saves it into memory. You can just press Ctrl and V and print it out. Now that's what I'd like you to do, and really show me that you understand what's going on. So there's a new tag here which I haven't talked about, and here and here and here. There's I've not talked about any of these, but I want you to have a go at putting them in the space of these. So for example, what does that do? And show me, and you should see a difference. And then if you know who I am, you can send this document either through your online homework or you can send it to my email. But I think that's it for this video. Let's just check our lesson slides, make sure we've done everything. Oh yeah, answer the quiz. Just answer this quiz. There's just a lot of pictures and you've got to really look at what's on the page and then tell me which line of code it is. Bit of fun. Anyway, not doing that. Let's run this. So, have we created a web page in following the video and the worksheet? Yes, I think we have. Have we answered the quiz? Yeah, we would have done. These are all your keywords. Do you know what all these mean now? I hope you do. So finally, we'll be able to create a web page using Notepad and HTML, which has a main title, a subheading, a title, and some text. Yes, we did. Can you add an image? Now we're going into the harder stuff now. Yes, we did. Can you change the background color of the page and the text color? Yes, we did. Now I forgot I'd put that in there. But killer, can you add a table which includes all the information above with a clear design to go to 3 other pages, 4 including the one you have? Now I didn't have a go at doing that, but basically if I go here and get all my work back, which I can't because I'm an idiot, I would have put like a link at the very top of my page where the title was to myself. So I would have gone something like this, home, end there, and then a href, and then this would be to myself, home.html, because it looks in the directory where you currently are, and if that is the page of itself, in if you were making like loads of pages which weren't going to other websites, you were making like a second page, you'd just type the name of your new page here. I did that in lessons. So if I save that and I refresh, that would go back to myself, and that is the end of it, I think. So thanks for listening. It's been exactly an hour. See if you can code me some nice websites and add some pages, and we'll do that in my next lesson next week, or a second lesson this week, depending on what I've got going on. So thanks for listening.